So when Milla Jovovich isn't battling evil that's resident and hunting monsters, this is what she does. She battles batshit insanity. The Rookies, also known as Deadly Force Mission Budapest. It's a terrible fucking name. Is brought to us by director Alan Yoon and stars Milla Jovovich, Darren Wang, and Sundrin Pina. We follow Fang, a young man who likes to climb tall shit and live stream it on the internet. When Fang accidentally gets mixed up in a criminal exchange one day, he finds himself invited into a secret government agency. I think they're part of the government, I'm not really sure. Either way, they're secret and they're kind of like James Bond, Kingsman-esque type of guys, which is headed up by Milla Jovovich's Bruce. This movie's made in China, so I don't know if that was possibly a lost in translation name or not, but either way, her name is Bruce. Once joined, Fang is followed by young Interpol agent Meow, and they go on an adventure to try and stop a madman from setting off a series of bombs that could end the world as we know it. Okay, now that synopsis I just gave you is probably the most down-to-earth, grounded version of this story that I could come up with. This movie is fucking batshit crazy from the get-go. It's so fucking out there and kinda hard to follow narratively at times that if you look online for a synopsis, it doesn't even give you one. It just talks about how it was filmed in China. I don't even know if the people making this movie knew what the fuck it was about. It is fucking out there at times. Ultimately, there's this reclusive billionaire who somehow gets this bioweapon that when dropped, at one point in the story, I think it turns people into trees or something like that, but later on, it may just kill people. I'm not 100% sure. At one point, just a whole bunch of people disappear when it gets dropped on them. Maybe there's different versions of it because there is different like color smoke that comes out when they drop this thing. I don't fucking know. It's bad though. When he sets these bombs off with this different colored smoke, it's bad shit. Bad things are gonna happen to people and it's up to our heroes to stop him. I said a few months ago when I did a trailer reaction to this movie that it looked pretty out there and crazy, and it is. Now I also said I'm okay with that. If it's batshit crazy and just insanity to the max, if they commit to that, it could still be fun. And commit they do. This movie is really fucking out there. Like crazy out there. If you've ever wanted to see a Volkswagen Bug that's kind of like a James Bond variant with like a big fiberglass looking ass on the back of it with rocket boosters, and at one point giant mech legs come out and have it walk around the city and fight a guy with a fucking van mounted minigun, then this may be the movie for you. These parts of the movie I did enjoy when they let loose and just said fuck it and went with it. That's when the movie was at its best, when they threw everything to the wayside and said fuck it, we're just going all out, doesn't matter if it makes sense, we're just going fucking crazy and having a good time. Like so much so to where the aforementioned VW Bug has like a transformer moment and a giant tongue comes out of the front of it and they fly down a heavily populated street in something that looks like it's from one of the later Fast and the Furious movies with just cars shooting and just jumping out of the way and just flipping all over the place. It's just utter fucking carnage. Suffice to say, this movie does not really take itself seriously. There's even a part where a character seemingly gets cut in half. By the way, this movie is more violent than you would expect it to be, but yeah, somebody gets cut the fucking half and then they're in the hospital. I'm like, what? How, they got cut in fucking half. They shouldn't be in the hospital. They should be in the fucking morgue. But then later on it said, oh no, they just got their legs cut off. We never really get to see exactly what point their legs got cut off. But yeah, I guess they just lost their legs. But I'm pretty sure they got cut the fucking half. But whatever, this movie didn't give a shit. This happened. There's like this strong, huge emotional moment in that part. I mean, I guess they were going for that. It's kind of like, what the fuck is going on here? But anyway, they get cut the fucking half and then, okay, no, they're not really cut in half. They're just missing legs. Yeah, that's what you're getting into with this movie. Just know that up front. Now, if any of this sounds like a good time, then you should definitely check this out. You're gonna have a great time with it. Another good thing that the movie does is the performances. Now, I'm not saying that these are like great Oscar-winning performances. They are absolutely not that. But given the type of movie this is, all the actors in it did a very good job at being very likable. You really enjoyed seeing these people on screen. They look like they're having a fucking blast. Also, the action. Everybody here was very game for the action, and the action that is here is done very well. In true true Hong Kong cinema style, the action is extremely stylized and it looks great. Jovovich is even given a few opportunities to show off her badass physicality. One part closer to the beginning where she's bouncing all over the fucking room, whooping all kinds of ass, clearly on wires, but she does it fluidly and great. It's a really exciting scene and she does great in it. There's also a pretty cool car chase that she is at the head of that just kind of devolves into like absolute bonkers territory, but she does a good job there as well. The camera work and cinematography here keeps things moving. Actually, the camera work and cinematography of the entire movie is like it's on fucking meth. I mean, this movie is like moving at all times. It's just going 100 miles a fucking minute. But it's not like overly cut or anything. We get long shots. We get to see what's going on, but this fucking camera is just moving at all times, like really fast. They just couldn't leave it in one spot. If movies could have ADD, I would say that this movie has ADHD. That's another positive of the movie. It never slows down. From like the very beginning, this thing moves at 1,000 miles a minute. There is not any breathing time. Story be damned. It doesn't matter if it makes sense. It doesn't matter if they need time to explain things. They're fucking going. This movie is always doing something and moving very fast while doing it. However, the side effect of that is narratively, you don't always fully get what the hell is going on and why the characters are doing what they're doing. Specifically, a part near the middle of the movie where our characters dress up like they're from Kiss and go to a party to get something. I still don't 100% know why they did that. It was a kinda sorta fun scene, but I don't really understand why this big, 20-25 minute chunk of the movie even existed. They go to get this thing from this place because this apparently is what the bad guys ultimately after. There's a really big deal is made about it, and this apparently is the motivations of our bad guys. So we get that, and we're kind of like, okay, that kind of makes sense. But then after that scene, this thing he was after and the whole motivation behind it is kind of just fucking dropped. It never comes up again, and we don't really know why he's doing this anymore. Not once is it brought up, it's just kind of fucking over with. And that is the scatterbrained nature of this movie. It's just all over the fucking place. It never quite focuses. And while that can be a good time, at times, overall, it becomes a bit tiring. I love a good time. I like some exciting scenes and a really fast pace like any other guy, but damn it, man. At some point, I'm like, I need some context. I need to know why we're doing this. What the fuck is going on here? Now, even though you don't really know what the fuck is going on half the time in this movie, I will say that for the most part, it looks pretty good. Now, there are a few effects in this movie that aren't necessarily up to ILM or Weta levels of effects, but none of them are like just terrible. Sure, they're not fooling anybody, but they're not so bad that they're offensive. For this kind of movie and as jovial as it is, they're kind of okay. Like that whole Hervey the Love Bug thing going down the street on mech legs, that totally doesn't look real, but you know what? You're looking at a fucking VW bug that's sprouted fucking mech legs and they're just walking down the street wrecking shit. Okay, it's okay. If you can suspend disbelief for that, you can suspend disbelief for these pretty good effects that they're using for it. Overall, some sketchy effects aside, the movie does look pretty good. It's got some entertaining performances and it is exciting at times. Guys, what else can I say about this movie? It's kind of a jumbled mess, but that doesn't mean that it's not kind of fun at times. Its scatterbrained story and 2-hour runtime does become a bit taxing about 2/3 of the way through. But admittedly, the movie does have this infectious glee to everything that it does. This one's not for everybody, that's for damn sure, but if you're into this kind of movie and any of the things I've said seem like they could be a good time, then you should absolutely check this one out on streaming.
Across the street.
This movie didn't blow me away, but I didn't hate it either. I had a decent enough time with it. If you're a fan of that bonkers, zany Hong Kong cinema, then check this one out one night and I think you'll have a great time with it. So there it is, guys, my review of The Rookies, or Deadly Force, Mission Budapest. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, Budapest. You know, this is another one of those situations where we have a ridiculous title change. I don't understand why they changed the title of this movie depending on where it's viewed in the world. The Rookies kind of fits the movie. These are about some rookie agents, if you will, going on a mission. Deadly Force, Mission Budapest sounds like some cheesy Steven Seagal movie from the early 90s. Or maybe mid-90s, because in the early 90s, Steven Seagal was still doing some okay movies. We're talking like mid to late 90s, even early 2000s, straight to video Steven Seagal. That's apparently what it's called here in America, and I don't get it. That is like the most generic sounding fucking title ever. I mean, was The Rookies taken? Was there some reason that they changed it to this generic ass name? Maybe, knowing that this was going to go straight to video here in the States, they said, hey, let's change it to this generic sounding Steven Seagal movie, and then Steven Seagal film lovers will maybe pick this up thinking he's in it. Maybe that was their strategy. I don't know. Either way, the fucking title sucks. It does give me the opportunity to say it like this though. Deadly Force, Mission Budapest. So there's that.